At exactly 2:15 a.m., on a steel bridge over the Dnipro River, a Russian convoy stretched over 5 miles long begins to slow down. Over 500 vehicles loaded with ammunition, fuel, and command equipment are stuck in a bottleneck. These supplies are meant for 2,000 troops on the southern front. The convoy is guarded by mobile Panzer S-1 air defense systems equipped with 57 E-6 missiles and 30mm autocannons. Overhead, a Nebo M radar scans the sky every 3 seconds. Tracking anything the size of a baseball from 200 yards away, the Russians believe they are safe. They are not, clamped to the steel beams beneath the bridge. 12 Ukrainian FPV drones remain dormant. Each costs $600 and carries a PG-7VL warhead capable of piercing 12 inches of reinforced concrete. These drones do not use GPS. They use onboard LiDAR and structure mapping to navigate. No signals, no pilots, no radio, just one encrypted wait command. For 72 hours, they have waited. Now, the failure of cheap Russian truck tires has caused the perfect pileup. Right inside the kill zone, 500 yards away, in a hidden Ukrainian command post, a single operator presses one key. The drones wake up. 12 green indicator lights blinked to life under the bridge. Each FPV drone detached from its magnetic clamp and dropped 3 feet before its brushless motor spun up. The low pitch hum blended with the sound of engines and tire friction above. The drones flew in tight formation, hugging the concrete support columns to avoid visual and radar detection. Inside each drone, the PG-7VL warhead armed itself, set to detonate with a 1.1 second delay after impact. The first wave, 6 drones, turned toward the ammunition trucks. The second group of 4 targeted the fuel tankers. The final 2 drones aligned with the convoy's lead command trucks. One Russian lieutenant in a Panzer S-1 command vehicle noticed slight electronic interference. He switched the system from passive to active radar. A 57 E-6 missile locked onto a heat signature below the bridge and launched. The missile struck a Ukrainian decoy drone that had activated seconds earlier. The explosion echoed across the riverbank, lighting up the night. The fireball rose 30 feet. In response, the convoy slammed on brakes, engines stalled, trucks jackknifed, horns blared. A 5-mile line collapsed into chaos. That brief explosion did something more dangerous. It told every soldier on the bridge that the ghosts were real. Radio chatter erupted. Drivers shouted coordinates. Red lights flashed in Panzer dashboards. One Tor M2 unit tried to acquire target locks, but clutter from the bridge's steel structure caused false returns. The drones had already slipped back under the bridge supports. Instead of attacking, they vanished. The onboard AI recognized the change in battlefield status and executed evasive protocol. Drone 3 activated its onboard X-band jammer. The Panzer radar went from fuzzy to white static. 40 miles north, a Beriev A-50 radar aircraft detected unusual heat patterns over the bridge. The aircraft's Schmel M radar picked out small moving objects at low altitude and transmitted a top-down targeting feed to the ground. The Panzer's radar suddenly cleared. A targeting reticle locked back onto Drone 9. A Tor M2 system received the same data and fired a 9M338 missile. The missile raced toward the drone at 1850 miles per hour. Drone 9's AI immediately deployed its tow decoy. From its underside, a 100-foot-long fiber optic cable unspooled. At the end, an AL-50 decoy activated. It sent back amplified radar reflections, simulating a much larger target. The Tor missile veered sharply. 3 seconds later, the missile detonated in midair, destroying the decoy. The real drone survived. The explosion in the air created a bright flash. Every Russian radar operator in a 50-mile radius now looked up. On the bridge, a temporary silence fell. Then came the final signal. From the Ukrainian command bunker, the operator hit execute. 11 drones powered back on, but this time, they would not hide. They launched straight up at full throttle, closing the final 200 yards in under 6 seconds. The kill phase had begun. If this was Russia's move to break Ukraine's resistance, what does its failure really mean? Comment 1 if you think this was just a tactical loss and Russia will strike back stronger. Comment 2 if you believe Ukraine now holds the upper hand and the momentum is shifting. 11 FPV drones surged upward from beneath the steel bridge, propellers screaming at 18,000 revolutions per minute. They climbed the final 200 yards in 5.8 seconds. The lead drone, Drone 1, reached the underside of the bridge deck directly below an ammunition truck carrying 120mm mortar shells and 122mm artillery rounds. Its PG-7VL warhead struck reinforced concrete and detonated after a programmed delay. The shaped charge pierced 12 inches of concrete and created a directional blast with over 4,000 psi of pressure. The explosion echoed downward, reflecting off the river surface 30 feet below. The water acted like a pressure mirror, compressing the blast into a narrow shockwave. The concrete support column, designed to bear vertical weight, was struck by a lateral force. Steel rebar inside snapped instantly. The bridge shook. 7 drones struck within the next 1.3 seconds. Drone 2 hit the bridge beneath the second ammunition cluster. Drone 3 exploded under a tanker carrying JP-8 fuel. Drone 4 and 5 hit simultaneously beneath 2 fuel vehicles. Drone 6 detonated below a mobile command post. Each blast was precisely timed to overlap shockwaves. Concrete cracked. Flames erupted. One fireball reached 70 feet high. The final 4 drones struck support columns. Their warheads detonated in synchronized succession, each adding more lateral force. The southern half of the bridge fractured. Road segments folded inward. At 3:47 a.m., the bridge deck gave way. 40 Russian vehicles dropped into the kill zone. The first to fall was an Ural truck carrying 82mm mortar shells. It landed nose first on top of the initial blast crater. The detonation triggered a sympathetic explosion. A secondary blast wave ignited 2 adjacent trucks. Each carried a mix of 122mm and 152mm artillery rounds stacked in wooden crates. The air temperature around the trucks spiked above 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. The shock wave cracked windows a mile away. Fuel tankers ruptured. JP-8 flowed across broken asphalt and ignited. Flames rolled under the collapsing bridge deck. Tanks of liquid fuel exploded in succession. Fire spread northward across the convoy. A Kamaz refueler caught fire and blew apart. Debris launched 60 yards into the river. A Panzer S-1 launcher nearby attempted to move but was blocked by disabled vehicles. Its 30mm autocannon tried to engage targets blindly, firing tracers into thick smoke. 2 seconds later, a third ammunition truck exploded directly beside it. The Panzer vanished in a flash. By 3:48 a.m., the southern span of the bridge was gone. Only twisted steel and cratered concrete remained. Flames climbed 80 feet. Black smoke rose into the night sky. Heat signatures confused Russian infrared optics. Ground units could not coordinate. Command vehicles were gone. The convoy's radio net failed. Out of 300 vehicles, at least 110 were confirmed destroyed or immobilized. Satellite images later showed a half-mile of burned wreckage on both sides of the river. Shockwaves from the bridge collapse were measured by seismometers 3.5 miles away. Readings showed 2.6 on the local magnitude scale, but the damage extended beyond physical destruction. The entire convoy had carried over 2 million pounds of ammunition and fuel. It was the lifeline for 1,000 troops deployed near Melitopol and Tokmak. Without it, artillery positions would run dry within 48 to 72 hours. Fuel reserves for mechanized units would deplete in under 3 days. Russian logistical officers attempted reroutes, but the Dnipro River Bridge was one of only 2 major crossings in the sector. The next nearest route required a 58-mile detour through contested terrain. Ukrainian HIMARS artillery units already targeted that zone with M31A1 rockets. A reroute would become a shooting gallery at Russian Southern Command. Panic set in. Communications from the convoy ceased. Drone footage released later by Ukrainian forces showed columns of smoke, wreckage, and secondary fires continuing for over 20 minutes. FPV drone kills had been confirmed on fuel tankers, command trucks, and Panzer systems. Meanwhile, Ukrainian analysts in Kiev watched the operation in real time. Field telemetry indicated 9 out of 11 drones successfully struck targets. 2 were shot down or jammed. but the mission had already succeeded, with less than $10,000 in drone hardware. Ukraine had crippled the main supply artery for an entire Russian division. The battle space shifted. Russian commanders hesitated to push forward. Without supplies, their southern push stalled. Ukrainian forces began repositioning M77 howitzers, NASAM's air defense, and fresh drone teams into forward zones on every satellite feed. The message was clear. The bridge was gone. The convoy was gone. The southern front had been severed. By dawn, the Dnipro River Bridge no longer existed. Satellite imagery captured at 6:00 a.m. showed a 400-foot gap where the southern span had once connected. Firefighters from Russian rear echelons struggled to contain residual fires. Ukrainian drones circled high overhead. Recording every angle, the destruction of the convoy marked a turning point. With over 2 million pounds of ammunition and fuel lost, Russian operations in the southern sector collapsed. Artillery batteries near Tokmak went silent within 48 hours. Mechanized units halted. No fuel, no shells. The failed resupply created a ripple effect. Forward positions abandoned, trenches evacuated, communications thinned out. Without logistics, the battlefield fractured. Ukraine capitalized immediately, within 72 hours. Ukrainian brigades launched probing attacks east of Orikhiv and south of Robotine. Russian forces, disorganized and undersupplied, fell back. HIMARS strikes followed. Targeting secondary depots and fuel convoys rerouted along unsafe roads. The Dnipro drone strike became a case study in modern warfare. The operation used 11 drones costing less than $1,000.